Hello there guys and welcome back to the channel. So we have all the information about So in today's video we're gonna have a discussion. This isn't gonna be a foregone conclusion, but it's something that I definitely started thinking about a lot more yesterday afternoon, and I kind of slept on it. And I think it is a discussion that we as a community haven't had yet in regards to champion abilities. And one of the more, relatively recently popular trends for champions that are being released and updated and whatever is to have different abilities placed on your basic combo. Now, when the game started in 2014, 15, 16, that pretty much didn't exist, right? Your basic combos did just about that. You were landing your mediums and your light attacks. And then you started seeing champions like Gwenpool, for instance, like Beast, whatever, where you gained effects randomly as a random chances and whatever not. And then more champions came along that kind of demanded you to conduct your basic combos in a specific way. And a great example here would be, for instance, Mysterio. Finish with a medium, you gain charge, and if you drop the fourth light attack, you put a passive heal block on the opponent. So it meant that if you want to have access to a heal block, which is a very, very useful ability, you absolutely must finish a combo, and in addition to that, you need to finish with a light attack. However, to requirements like that, there is an alternative cost which mostly never gets talked about, and which is becoming increasingly meaningful. Now, to demonstrate the point before we get further on in the discussion, we're going to go up here in Act 6, I believe it's 642 or something like that. And here we have that crit me with your best shot, tunnel vision, critical setup lane, right? So tunnel vision, stealth suit Spider-Man with his web foam. If you play slow debuff, you can basically prevent missing. So you're not going to be able to miss, and you can pretty much ignore the tunnel vision node, right? And the key aspect there is you have to place that slow debuff on the opponent first. So what happens if we go in, we try to, and there's a tunnel vision, and we didn't get to the slow. And there is a way to weave your combos, probably, at some point, somehow. But we can see that I'm pretty much unable to finish a combo with that light attack, light hit, right? And I'm not able to prevent myself from missing. I'm sure there's going to be somebody in comment section who's going to say, if you do this combo like that, that combo like that, you might get there. But the point is, it becomes extremely difficult, close to impossible in many different matchups, especially if you do not have that cushion of a parry stun, to actually use the ability, which would arguably be placed on the most accessible, the easiest to access spot in Champion's Toolkit, on his base combo. Now, there are many different downsides to these combos, these abilities being placed on you, these abilities being placed on your basic combos. I think another good way to demonstrate it right now would be one of the downfalls of Dormammu, because as we all know, Dormammu has one of the best power controls in the game. The reason why nobody's really using Dormammu is because he has to take a huge amount of chip damage. The reason he does that, obviously, is because he has quite junky block proficiency, but also because in order to access to that full extent of his power control, which is on that last medium, you need to finish a combo with medium. Now, what does it mean if you finish a combo with medium? It means you cannot go for an intercept, for instance, afterwards, right? So we can see that I'm perfectly managing opponent's power. He's not going past bar power, but in order to gain an opening, I need to parry, or I need to completely halt the fight, reposition myself, and then. And let's see how much power control, let's say, Dormammu has in an option where you do not have ability to parry the opponent. Yes, you have a power lock and possible power drain on your level 2, but on your basic combos, if you're playing against stun immune opponents, we're going to pretend that Winter Soldier is stun immune. You see, you have no access to power control, because if you want to go for like your dash back intercepts and things like that, then you cannot finish a combo with medium attack. And that incredibly slows you down. And that, by having like one of the most useful power control abilities in the game, in form of Dormammu, is extremely detrimental in a lot of different matchups where landing parries might not be as easy, where opponents can shrug them off, tenacity type things, debuff immunities, or what have you. We can perfectly power control the opponent, but in order to do that, we end up parrying for days in and days out. And that, for a character such as this, was one of the bigger issues with him, why he never gained popularity, because that meant, and I'm talking this about based on my personal experience, when I bought him in map 6 when he was relatively new, that even if I played perfectly, parried, dropped my combo to power control the opponents, I did end up taking like 10-15% of my health in a block damage in map 6 fight, and obviously it wasn't sustainable. So that is important thing that I think people are currently overlooking, that even though on a surface level all of these abilities that are placed on certain hits on your basic combos or certain way of finishing combo, on face value they are very accessible and they seem very, very intriguing, but when it comes to actually using them in game, they all have a lot of alternative cost. For instance, of Cosmic Ghost Rider, the biggest base thing about him is that he has to land a 5-hit combo, finishing with medium or light, and that is pretty much how you start getting your judgments, and it's extremely vital for his cycle. Any matchup where you're unable to fight in a manner of 5-hit combos immediately disrupts that cycle. In addition to that, you pretty much say goodbye to being able to dash back intercept, and or at the very least, if you do dash back intercept, that will significantly slow you down because you're not finishing the combo, you're not kind of like getting in the loop. So you're kind of relegated to relying on parry and getting your opening in that way for many scenarios. Another thing that I noticed, for instance, was with Gambit. When I used Gambit against Electro, now his medium attacks don't take any damage back, neither his special attacks, neither heavy attacks. But for instance, and I guess we can go in and quickly showcase this. I'm gonna quickly have to, whoops, wrong place. I'm gonna quickly showcase it against the 5.4 Electro as well. It should kind of like drive the point in home. This is very similar to what I showcased with Dormammu. And yeah, let's jump in. Act, not there, where's Act 5? Let's go to 5.44, and there is an Electro. And I'm going to take in a Gambit, and we're going to notice that there will be an issue. Because I'm going to be going up against Electro, but Electro is a champion whose special attack is very, very hard to get out of the way if you finish a combo with a medium attack, which Gambit kind of requires, because that is the hit in this matchup that doesn't take any damage back. You can see, so long as I'm using medium, I'm not taking any damage. The problem with that is, in a matchup like this, I would be, at this point, I am pretty much relegated to one-hit combo. Well, in this case, I'm getting hit in the face. But when he would reach a bar of power, which I'm going to showcase in a second, I don't want to push him past the bar of power with my second medium attack, because that possibly would not leave me enough time to get out of the way. So now I just did the single medium attack, and that's perfectly fine. But that is not really a sustainable way to play if this Electro would be stun immune, or if you would have Limbo active. Or Limber, sorry. And I'm going to showcase exactly what I mean here. Hopefully we get a good demonstration. So I finished the combo with medium. Luckily he didn't go in a special attack, but had he used that special attack immediately, I would have had quite hard time to get out of the way in time. And again, you can see that this type of playstyle immediately relies on parries, because I cannot go medium light, dash back intercept or whatever. I need to go either for a single hit medium or double mediums, but then obviously I cannot intercept anymore to get back in. And I do know that this isn't end of the deal in plenty of situations, but in plenty of situations, small nuances like this can mean the difference between champion being viable or champion being realistically able to clear some content, and not like demonstrated earlier with Stealth Suit Spider-Man on the tunnel vision node, or the similar thing would apply to Mixmaster, for instance, so on and so forth. And there are a lot of champions that do access vital pieces of their ability based on the hits on their basic combo. We have Mysterio, we have Stealth Suit Spider-Man, we have Dormammu, we have Gambit now, so on and so forth. It's getting very, very bright here because sun is shining. But I think that also more or less is going to drive to a conclusion here. Let me just quickly adjust the brightness on my camera a bit here because it's getting a bit ridiculous. It's very hard to record on a quite sunny day. So let's reduce it a bit and this should do better, hopefully. So the point of today's video will be not to raise alarm or criticize or anything like that, but it's more so just to make sure that people are aware that there are downsides to all of these seemingly easily accessible abilities, because they do change the way you can play the champions, the way you can interact with the nodes, and the way you can utilize game mechanics to benefit you. And the more abilities champions have on their base combos will restrict you more quite often. And that is something that I definitely noticed with Immortal Hulk, which is why I'm making this video. Because with Immortal Hulk, you're pretty much always mandatorily set to finish a combo with your second medium if you want to have a chance to build up a rage stack, and you have very limited amount of time to do that. And that could possibly, all other things put aside, be one of the most detrimental things for the character, because for a champion that relies on having such strong kind of like rapid paced damage build up, and you do need to keep the momentum, the fact that you have to finish with a medium pretty much disables all your dashback intercept ability, which is the exactly type of thing you would want to do in a situation like that. And that just hinders a character. Like, honestly, I do feel like Immortal Hulk at the point of his release is already pretty much butchered by too short rage timer, by the way he builds up rage, and by rage not having pause during opponent's special attacks. So, I'm not entirely sure how I'm going to title this video, but I hope you guys enjoyed it at the very least. I hope it made you actually think and look at your own champions, and perhaps it will alter the way you see champion abilities and the way you can also assess what is more important in your rank up process and things like that. All that being said, please do remember to hit that like button, hit that sub button. Currently, I am trying to push to 30,000 subscribers, so if you could please do me the honors, hit that sub button, hit all the other buttons, that would be awesome. And I'm going to catch you guys soon. See ya.